or shall we have a dialogue about? Psychological pain and physical pain.
Psychological pain which turns into.
Psychological pain which goes into physical pain, psychosomatic pain.
It seems to me there must be a contradiction between choice and responsibility, as I don't understand how a person whose condition has choice, and without choice, how is there responsibility, and how can a person be good or evil?
Isn't there a contradiction between choice and responsibility?
Isn't there a contradiction between choice and responsibility? What's that?
Lack of choice.
Lack of choice and responsibility.
I would like to have a dialogue about aging.
Aging.
About getting old. These words, how we avoid that word aging. Just say, why not say we're getting old?
I would like to talk about the imaging.
Image making. Is it possible to understand the making of images and putting an end to them? Is that it?
I would like to talk about the origin of thought in the wrong place. The last discussion went into it, but my question was a little more meticulous than that. I wanted to understand, where along the cranial line thought took a jump to the psychological field.
How did it come to happen that thought went into the wrong place?
How does it happen that thought moves over or enters or takes over in the psychological field?
How did it begin?
How the origin of this?
What is meditation?
What is meditation? Now, which of these would you like to have a dialogue about?
Meditation.
About do you want to talk about meditation? Do you really do? Or is it just a fanciful introduction to talk about something quite irrelevant apart from our life? If you really want to talk about meditation, let's do it. But we must be very, very serious to go into that question. So which would you like? Do you want to talk about it? No.
Last Tuesday we talked about conditioning, and one of the conditionings we have to deal with is the conditioning on authority. And when somebody like me thinks about speaking up here, he really gets into an authority problem, such as the authority that I give you out of respect, the authority I give the group, and my own authority, which I'm not too clear about. So maybe something like that we could, because everybody has to deal with that sits here.
You want to speak about authority? The authority of the man sitting on the platform, the authority of the public, the authority of the specialists, the authority of one's own experience, and which becomes inward authority. Do you want to talk about that? talk about meditation and
At a later meeting.
at a later meeting. All right.
I'd like to talk about our ability to experience that which you speak, about that of which you speak.
Could we talk about our ability to experience that about which you speak?
Our ability to live it,
Our ability to live it.
our inability to live it.
Would you talk, or would we have a dialogue about that which we are talking about? What a strange crowd we are.
Could we talk about what it is that is our overriding interest, what it is that we really want?
What do we really want? What is our overriding interest?
Could we discuss that? What is our search? What is it we are seeking? And what is the inner urge to find something? Could we talk about that? Do you want to talk about it? What is that for?
Yes, they want to talk about that.
All right, sir. You know, I do not know if you have not noticed, especially in California, and which spreads to the east and also further east, that most Americans are seeking something, right? Or experimenting with various religious ideas, psychological pursuits, group therapy, this whole phenomena of seeking, wanting something. Is that what you want to discuss? You're sure? All right, sir.
Sam said he gives you authority out of respect. Could we talk about respectability?
Talk about respectability. All right, sir. We'll introduce that word and what's the content of that word in going to this question of what it is that we're all wanting, that we're all seeking. Why you all come here and listen to this man. What for? I think this is really a very good question. If we could have a serious dialogue about it. What, sir?
To distract us from ourselves.
To distract us from ourselves is why we come.
You come here to escape from ourselves, to avoid our own daily complexities. Is that what we are wanting?
I would like to find out about attention, desire, and will.
Desire and will. We'll do that, sir, on Saturday. We'll go into the whole question of desire, the implication of desire, the arising of desire, and the interference of thought with this image, which is pursued through will. So we'll discuss that, if you don't mind, on Saturday, day after tomorrow morning. But let's go into this question. What is it we are all wanting? More money? If you have not money, obviously one must have more money if you haven't got it. That gives us food, clothes, and shelter. Apart from that, and if it is possible that all human beings right throughout the world have enough clothes, food, and shelter, that would be a marvelous world. Because there is a great deal of poverty, of which you hardly know in this country, where there is degradation, destruction, of absolute hopelessness, of not having a job, food, clothes, all that. We can go into that. But apart from that, in an affluent society, where most of us have some kind of assurance of food, clothes and shelter, apart from this, what is it that we are seeking?
Completeness.
It is suggested that we are seeking completeness. Go into this a little bit, step by, go into it rather deeply. What is it we want? Happiness? Because most of us are discontented, dissatisfied with things as they are, both in our private life and in public life, and we want to bring about some kind of inward peace, tranquility, a sense of order, not only in society but in ourselves. What is it we want? And if one has this social order, which doesn't exist, if one has it, we want something more. We want God, we want enlightenment, we want a kind of mental peace, and so on, so on, so on. What is it each one of us want, crave after, pursue? I wish we could discuss this.
Looks like we don't even know what we want. We give a label, God or enlightenment, but we don't know.
So is that it? We do not know what we want. Therefore, we go window shopping.
I think we do know what we want.
If we include the
That's why we're wanting, because we know what we want.
You know what you want, then there is no problem.
Not really. Not really, there isn't, is there?
Huh? What's that?
Well, really, there probably isn't. Is that?
What's that? I mean, if you know what you want, you can get it. Only the trouble is getting it. Then there is no problem. You say, look, I want money, I want to be happy, I want some kind of order in my life. Then you work for it. It's very simple. But we aren't satisfied with that. We're always wanting more and more and more. What is this more?
if we were to include a physical security, which I think we have to start out with that, and also include, I don't know if I can call it a psychological security, but a psychological serenity. If there could be that and physical security, because I think the two have to go together.
It is suggested that both physical as well as psychological security must be sought out.
Well, if let me, it might be that there has to be, and I think there does, the physical security. We have to want that, and I mean not just want that and not take the. Well, I think that in a sense, if I say I want physical security,
So,
and
are you saying for most people in the world with increasing population, with the destruction that's going on of the earth, the air and everything, to have physical security is becoming more and more difficult.
Yeah.
That's one point. Second, psychologically, inwardly, we all want some kind of attachment, some kind of comfort, some kind of release from our own daily routine turmoil. Now, are you saying cannot these two to go together? Now, just inquire into it, sir. You may be well fed, have clothes and all the rest of it. The vast majority of people in the world, especially in Asia, including India, life is becoming enormously difficult. Poverty, the degradation of poverty. What is preventing this? What is preventing for a human being to live on this earth having plenty of food, clothes and shelter for all human beings? What is the cause of this prevention? We are inquiring, we are not accepting, we are thinking the problem over together.
Isn't it because some amass such wealth and food and power and in an effort to
Is it that some people amass enormous wealth and are only concerned about themselves? Is that the cause? Or is it also nationalities, economic divisions, political divisions, religious divisions? All these factors and some others prevent human beings coming together, organizing, so that we all have enough food, clothes and shelter, obviously. Because we are not concerned about others. We are only concerned, as long as I have my security, leave me alone. So that's one problem. So most of us, here at least, are not seeking physical security, otherwise you wouldn't be here. But we want psychological security. We want something inwardly. What is it you want?
So when you say psychological security, is that the same? Can you also say spiritual security? If you say psychological, are you saying spiritual?
No, I'm not using the word spiritual at all. That's rather overused word, rather superstitious word, and rather catchy word. I'm using the word psychological in the sense there is inner demand. I want something. People want something. What is it you want? I wish you would. Huh?
We want to realize our potential.
You want to realize your potentials. What are your potentials? If I say I want to realize my potential, first I must find out what my potentials are. And then I can put all my energy into that. But what is my potential? Happiness? Now, is that a potential or is that an end? Is that a byproduct?
Possibly they mean that our potentiality is God, because all the religions have told that.
What our potential is?
He says, maybe the other fellow feels that our potential is God.
Is that it? Our potential is God.
I've heard some people.
I'm lost. We are not clearly thinking about this matter. What is it? What's that?
We are all seeking eternal life.
We're all seeking eternal life. What do you mean by that word eternal? Eternal, which is beyond time. Eternal we generally understand to mean a continuous existence, eternal. Is that what you want? You don't you say these things.
I think we want to end our wanting.
Ah, you want to end your wanting.
We want to see our confused mind. That's what I want to see, I think.
You want to have a clear mind. Is that it?
I want to see my confused mind. Our confused mind.
Yeah, my mind is confused, the questioner says, and I want clarity. Can we discuss that? You're putting so many things in this. Can we discuss that? Talk it over together. Most of our minds are confused. That's obvious. If your minds were clear, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't attend any meeting. You wouldn't have to go to any guru, to any philosopher, to any recent man who says, I know what I'm talking about.
Maybe then we would just come for conversation.
What's that?
Maybe then we would just come for conversation and friendship, just to know you. You're a very nice person.
Maybe that's not, is that what you want? So most of us are confused. Why? Please go into it, put your heart into this, find out. Why are we confused?
Sir, the world demands action, and we don't really know how to respond.
World demands action, and we do not know how to respond. How can one respond at your excellency, at your excellence, at your highest capacity? If your mind is confused, please stick to this. Would you say your minds are confused? Right. Let's start from there, please. Why is it confused? What's that?
We are constantly living in contradiction. We think we want something, but
We
actually
live in constant contradiction, and therefore our minds are confused. That's one reason. Go on, go into it a little more, step by step, sir.
Could one reason be that our education, we have heard about different religions and different political ideologies, and that's why we can't...
So are you saying our education, our conditioning, our the various people saying various different things. One philosopher saying this, the other saying the contrary to that, a scientist, and so on, so on, so on. And therefore we listen to all these people, and we do not know who is speaking the truth. Is that it? Give your thoughts to this little, please.
How can a confused mind recognize?
Just a minute, just a minute.
People tell us that all these things that money and so forth are good. And we come down and we get them, and then we find out they're not really good at all.
People tell us certain things are good, like money. So we get those things and find out it's no good anyway.
Make it something, and we're supposed to do that, and everybody tries to make that, but when you find out it's that you don't want to be, something else, not that, what everybody wants. You don't seem to have the capability to decide what the various philosophers.
So first have to have the capacity for clarity. We must first see what is the cause of this confusion. Right, sir? What is the cause of it? People?
This is not the content of our consciousness.
The content of consciousness. Is that not the cause of confusion?
Is not the cause of confusion the content of our consciousness. Would we go slowly into this? Because it's very important for you. If you could understand why our minds are confused. Is it because we are unhealthy physically? And therefore, that somatic reaction makes us confused. That may be one. Second, we listen, or we are educated, and we listen to contradictory opinions, contradictory theories, contradictory religious ideas. You can only be saved through Christ, or you can only be saved through some this, that, the other. So we are being pushed in all directions constantly. The latest guru, the latest philosopher, the latest psychologist. And we are listening to all these people and we say, Lord, who is telling the actual facts? Who is telling the truth?
Sir, if our minds are confused, how can we recognize what's correct?
If our minds are confused, how can we recognize what truth is of what the others are saying? One cannot. But we are trying to find out, sir, what is the cause of this confusion? Why do men and women live in this confusion? You don't give your minds to this. You just throw off things.
It seems as if we have been conditioned to seek things we don't really need. And that's part of it.
Do you really want to find out why your minds are confused? Right? What price are you willing to pay for it? Not financial money, not money. I don't want a cent from you. Thank God. Please listen, sir. Please listen. You've asked a very serious question. What do you mean by?
What do you mean by confused?
What do you mean by confused? If I may ask, why are you here?
Not to find out about confusion.
Huh?
Not to find out about confusion, I hope. I'd like to know, sir, what is compassion and what is love, and how do we do that?
See, everybody has different wanting. You want to find out what is love, and somebody says something else, and something else.
And all these different things make for confusion.
Yes, sir. At the end of this meeting, this gathering, you will be still left with your confusion. So, what is important is, if we can clear up this confusion by really talking about it, going into it, really being clear.
Isn't it that we just want somebody to tell us what to do and that...
We are coming to that, madam.
You ask, what is the cause of that confusion?
I'm asking that, sir. You're all pushing in all different directions. What is the cause of this confusion that man lives in? Not only during this century, it has been like that always. You don't even listen. So it is historical fact that man has lived this way, in confusion. And we are asking, why is he confused? If you do not know, don't you want to find out?
The question, sir, was what price we were willing to pay for it.
Yeah, I asked her what price, not financial. What price in the sense, what will you give of your energy, your intention, your demand? to find out whether your mind can be clear. Will you give your attention? Will you give your energy? Will you give your capacity to find out? That means your blood, your heart, your mind to find out.
Yes.
We don't know how to give those things.
Huh?
We don't know how to give those things.
We don't know how to give our blood, our mind,
But
our
we
heart.
do know how to, because we're given our attention now. You said attention, we're given that now.
Are you giving your attention to find out? Not to what I am saying.
To the process of questioning and trying to find
No,
the answer.
just a minute, sir. Not to what I am saying. That is totally irrelevant. But together to find out if we can clear up this confusion. That means talking it over together. Not holding on to your opinion, my opinion, but I want to find out what's the cause of this. You understand, sir? Is it the cause each one is so terribly selfish? Each one wanting his own expression, his own pleasure, his own, all the rest of it. He is so self-centered. Is that it? Sir, I just asked a question, inquire into that question. You understand, in this country, and which is here, there is freedom to do what you want. In a totalitarian state, you cannot do that. Here, you can do what you want. And we are doing what we want. Each one asserting himself, each one wanting his own success, his own happiness, his own fulfillment of his own ambition, and so on, so on, so on. Is that the cause of this extraordinary chaos?
That's a byproduct. One reason.
What is a byproduct?
Something else.
Huh?
It's a byproduct of some cause. It's not the cause.
It's not the selfishness is not the cause.
I say the selfishness is a byproduct of the cause, whatever that is.
Which, sir, you see, what is further behind? That is your egotism, your sense of wanting to fulfill your own urges. You want to, if you are a Catholic, you want that. You can only find grace, salvation through a certain person. If you are not, you are something else. Don't you understand my question? That each one of us wanting something for ourselves. Is that the cause of it?
Isn't the sense of self part of the conditioning, sir?
Sir, just find out this, sir. If we could all put our minds to this to find out.
Sir, when you give yourself attention, you lose the other attention goes away. The attention I'm trying to give to you. When I go on myself, I lose all that attention.
Sir, I want to find out, apart from all of you, I want to find out why human minds are confused. The basic reason, the root of this, not just the expression of this confusion, but the root of it. Is it that we, each one of us, think that we are extraordinary individuals, separate, and therefore each one wanting to express his own urges, his own reactions, his own demands, which can all be expressed in one word, self-centeredness?
Yes.
Please don't agree with me. It's not agreement. You have to find out. All right, sir. Part. Now, if we can listen to this 2 minutes, sir. The parts don't make the whole, right? Obviously. But through the part, you can find the whole. Right? You understand? I want to find out for myself why my mind is confused. I say, is it because I'm really so self-centered? I think it is. I'm so self-centered. My wife, my house, my ambitions, my God, my beliefs, my experience. I want this and I don't want, self-centered action all the time. And this self-centered action is encouraged by the society I live in, encouraged by the religions. You can only save yourself through Buddhism, and parts of Hinduism deny all that. You follow? So I find by observing the world very critically, historically, watching all the human activities, political, religious, nonsensical, communism, totalitarianism, communities, and so on, they're all in one way or other self-centered. That's a fact. I may be self-centered, but not know it, but say I am expressing God's wishes. I represent the eternal. It is still self-centeredness. So, if that is the cause, and I'm pretty sure it is the cause, then what shall I do to clear up that confusion whose cause is this eternal self-centeredness?
We said that that's part of the cause, and then we said through the part you can find the whole.
Yes, sir. Through the part you can find the whole. But the part isn't the whole.
One of the reasons I'm confused is because I don't know how the parts relate to the whole.
No, that was a Bible. Forgive me for bringing that in. It is self-centeredness. So, if that is the root of it, what am I to do? How deeply do I want to be free of this self-centeredness? How deeply am I willing to put aside those things that create self-centeredness? What's up?
I think the depth of that goes as deep as you see the danger.
Therefore, psychologically, inwardly, unconsciously, one may see the danger of not being self-centered, which may bring about such deep psychological revolution. Unconsciously, one may be frightened of it. Therefore, we say, please, let me remain in my confusion. Let me remain in my anxiety, in my uncertainty. I'll go around window shopping for the rest of my life. But I see the danger of going very deeply into this. Is that the case with most of us?
We fear the responsibility of clarity.
What's that?
We fear the responsibility of clarity.
We fear fear the responsibility that goes with clarity.
Of course.
But to fear the responsibility of clarity is once again to focus the attention on the self.
What's that?
Fear the responsibility of clarity is once again to focus the attention on the self.
I think clarity might be
Clarity
very
does
nice.
not exist in the self.
That'd be really
Clarity
wonderful.
exists.
He says if we fear responsibility, again we are focusing attention on the self.
No, I'm going to point out a different way of approaching the problem. What's that?
It's in ignorance, our ignorance.
Ignorance.
Ignorance. Right. Ignorance of my own selfishness.
Of ignorance and the lack of love.
Yes, sir. The lack of love is, why do I talk about love when I'm selfish? For God's sake. How can I talk about love or God or whatever all that stuff is when my whole life is self-centered?
Well, isn't that the aspiration, the completeness, that the brain is conditioned and the mind is emptiness, the totality of the whole?
Sir. You're moving away from the central fact that we are self-centered. We may move to God, but it's still self-centered. The extension from the center is still self-centered. So I say to myself, is it possible? I'm asking dialogue, having a dialogue. Is it possible not to be self-centered? What are the implications of not being self-centered? Which, if I do it by will, I'm still self-centered. If I say I must not be self-centered, the must not is still part of the self. Right? I wonder if we see that. I can renounce, one can renounce property, beliefs, all that. The very renunciation in order to achieve something is part of this self-centeredness. Right? So one wants to find out, is there a way of living daily life, not in heaven or some kind of community, living where we are, our daily life, without being self-centered? So this is an enormous, complex question, you understand? There must be no escape into some kind of illusion, ideologies, into some kind of fanciful living, but actual daily living in which self-centered action doesn't take place.
And then I require pretty, almost perfect attention to the present moment. I mean, you have to really live here now to not be self-centered.
Give your complete attention to the present.
I mean, you would have to live in it.
Yeah. What do you mean by the word present?
Right now. Right
Look, please. Right now. What do you mean right now?
Retrospect of instant now.
What do you mean by those words, sir? Instant, now, the present.
Of right now, and spit it and spit it and spit it.
No, I'm not spitting. I am not splitting words. I am asking a very serious question. When you say the now, which means there is neither the past nor the future. So let's go back. Is there a way of living in which this self-centered activity ends?
Sir, could we ask the question that is it possible for the self to exist without self-centered activity at all?
Is it possible for the self to exist without its activities? Its very activities is the self. If the self has no activity, it dies. Well, obviously. It has no substance. Please.
Sir, because the fact is that we don't know what it means to live without self-centered activity.
We're going to find out.
What it is. What is the self-centered activity? We don't know.
You don't know what self-centered activity is?
I mean in reality.
I mean to show you in reality my attachments to my wife, to my husband, to my girl, to my house, to my belief, to my nationalities, to my experience, to my dogmas, to my gods, my belief, my attachments, my activities of ambition, arrogance, and so on, all that is self-centered activity. That's obvious, sir.
What is really the root of it?
The root of it is the energy, this vast energy, channeled in a particular direction of ambition, of greed, envy, violence, belief, all that is, all this energy channeled through all this. That is, the very center of this is energy. And this energy is now being used along particular narrow, limited lines. And therefore it is self-centered.
We ask at this point where thought comes in. What
We'll come to, madam, thought is part of this self-centeredness. I identify myself with my group, with my society, with my wife, with my God. I identify. The identifying process is part of this self-centeredness. You do, sir, I've said this, please. I've said this. See if it is the truth or false. You jump to something else.
Isn't this energy somehow trapped?
All right, so it's trapped by your desire. Where are you at the end of it? Please.
Sir, isn't this constant rooted in the fear of aloneness? And basically all of us don't want to be alone. That we
Yes, sir.
identify
Part of this self-centeredness is being afraid to be alone, being afraid of loneliness. Therefore, gather together. Be attached to something. Be entertained. Television, newspapers, the preachers, they got, entertained. Football, they're all the same, whether the entertainment of a cathedral or the entertainment football are the same, because you all want to be entertained. So please, sir, just listen to what I'm saying, for God's sake. Not that you must accept. We have come to a point where we see we are self-centered. And is it possible not to be? No. You say no. Then you have blocked. You have blocked yourself from finding out if it is possible. And if a man says, yes, it is possible, then he is also blocked. The man who says no and the man who says yes are both blocking themselves.
The only way that we can try, sir, the only way that we can try to understand this process of self-centeredness is to go to the suffering which it causes and remain with it and do nothing about it at
Do
all.
it, sir. Are you doing it or just talking?
I'm doing it.
Good luck.
To ask nothing more than to understand.
People don't even... Yes, sir, I'm glad you're doing it, sir. Please, let's get...
Sir, we see the pattern of self-centeredness
but it continues.
So we'll come to the next step, which is if you see the cause of this confusion is self-centeredness, if you see that the self-centeredness with all its innumerable activities, then what will you do? If you say it's not possible not to be self-centered, then you give it up. Right? But if you say also it's possible, you have also be encouraging it. So both are the same. If you discard both and then say, look, I'm self-centered. Let me find out if one of the expressions, which is attachment to my wife, to my family, to my God, to my belief, to my opinions, to my judgment, attachment to something, whether I can be free of that attachment. Without conflict, without renunciation, without exercising will, because that is part of the self still. Johan, please listen to this. Which means, can you observe your attachment of various kinds, not just the wife or the husband or the girl, attachment to a particular idea, to a particular opinion, to a particular belief, attached. And that very attachment implies you are that. You understand? If I'm attached, just listen, sir, just listen. If I am attached to my furniture, I am the furniture. You understand? Do you understand this simple fact? Because if without the furniture I'm lost. So, can I observe this attachment to this or that or the other, and without conflict, without a motive, just drop it? Huh? I've shown you, sir. Moment you ask how, see the reason, sir, see the logic of it. The moment I ask how, you want a pattern. You want a system. That very system is the expression of the self. Just, Madam, too. So, you understand, I want to understand the cause of this confusion. The cause of this confusion is this self-centeredness. One of the aspects of this self-centeredness is attachment. I see this very clearly. The logic of it, the rationality of it. I've exercised my reason, not my prejudice, not my callousness. I've examined it. And the very examination brings about a certain quality of intelligence, right? That intelligence says, finished, I'm not attached. It's not your will that says I'm not attached. It's the intelligence that has come into being through observation of being attached. All the implications of it, fear, jealousy, anxiety, and the loss, which I call suffering, all that I see, and the very perception of that is intelligence. If you like to use the word understand. If you don't see clearly, madam, why? which means you are not either hearing or not following, you are not interested, you are distracted. Your attention is not fully in the inquiry. What?
One doesn't want to give it all up.
Ah, then keep it. Then keep it and live in confusion. Nobody wants to give up anything. I'm not asking you to give it up. I'm saying on the contrary, by giving up, you haven't solved the problem. You can drop your belief, but you haven't solved the problem. The problem is self-centeredness. And one of the expressions of that self-centeredness is attachment.
Have to unravel the awareness?
I'm asking, madam, don't bring in other factors. Just look at this simple factor that one is attached and see the implications of that attachment. Suppose one is attached to a woman or a man. They both like being attached to each other. It's part of their sexual, personal, sensational demands. And if anything happens to the other, one or the other, one runs away or chooses after 3 years another man, then there it begins the whole problem of jealousy, antagonism, or indifference, because you can always pick up another man or another girl. Right?
Sir, we are talking here in psychological terms, I understand. But in reality, we live not only in a psychological world, we're living in an actual world as well. We're living in a daily life, which has another aspect other than what we call psychological. Isn't that right, sir?
No, sir, we are living in both worlds. We are living both in the psychological world and in the physical world. The psychological world dominates the physical world. The physical world doesn't dominate the psychological world. You can have all the money, all the food, all the cars, everything, but you may be unhappy because your husband, wife, or runaways, or all the rest of it.
The reason I bring up this, sir, is because this comes to the root of my confusion here. I'm a painter. When you talk about attachment, I understand the stupidity of it, if you want, in psychological terms, right? But in my work, when I try to realize myself on a canvas, to realize myself, to put myself on a canvas, to make a picture, a painting, I don't see that as an attachment. I try to realize my potential. I try to establish a line of communication. So, if I consider that as an attachment, perhaps it is a sort of attachment in that. But in another sense, it's not attachment.
Isn't that an attachment?
Pardon?
Isn't it an attachment? When you say I want to achieve my potential, when I want to be a great success.
No. I make a distinction between success and potential. I make a distinction between success, making a success,
and he makes a distinction between success and potential.
I make a distinction, sir.
Sir, distinction between potential and fulfillment.
Yes.
Just a minute, sir. Careful. Go slowly, sir. Don't say yes. You are differentiating between potential and fulfillment.
Yes.
If you have potential, then it will operate. You don't search out its fulfillment. If you are a first class feeling for music, to be, And you go on working. You don't, moment you say, I want to fulfill, then the self-centered activity begins. It's like a violinist, sir, who's got great potential. And he uses the instrument to fulfill himself, to become rich, to become famous, to become this or that.
Yes, sir. We made a distinction and we agree here. We are together at this point. But I think this causes for confusion in daily living. What we call about confusion, that's how it appears in our daily living. We hear here that attachment is the source of our trouble, of our misery, right? And then if we sense that in what we're doing there is some kind of attachment, so we get confused. We don't know to go ahead with what we want to do, or we're serving some kind of attachment in this way.
Sir, I said that's only part of it. Sir, self-centeredness is also getting hurt, right? Being psychologically hurt. That's part of self-centeredness. Part of self-centeredness is being violent. Part of self-centeredness is I must fulfill. I have got capacity, I have got, there's certain potentiality in me, and I must express it. And when there is no fulfillment in that expression, then there's frustration, disappointment, depression, anger, all that's part of self-centeredness. So I'm saying, when you observe this confusion, and man has accepted this way of living which leads to confusion, which encourages confusion, and we live with it. We never say, can this end? All we do is, not knowing how to end it, we run away from it. We want to know about meditation, we want to know about God, if there is immortality, if there is anything but this. So we are pointing out in a dialogue, I am not your authority, though I am sitting on a platform because merely that's convenient so that you can see each other. I'm being raised in a little bit higher, it doesn't give one authority. One year, I was in India, a very famous guru sent his disciples wanting to see me. And the disciples came for 3 days, say, you must come and see our guru. I said, I'm sorry, I don't go out searching any guru. And at last the guru came because he wanted to see me. We were sitting on a little platform, on a mattress about that thick. Out of politeness we got up and asked him to sit on the mattress. Immediately he became the guru because he was a little higher. And he began to tell us what to do. You understand this? The absurdity of it. So, sitting on a platform, as I am, doesn't give me any authority. But I'm just pointing out certain things, if you are willing to listen. That our cause of our confusion is this enormous, deep-rooted, unconscious as well as conscious, deliberate selfishness, self-centered activity. And can one observe it not only in relationship intimately, but also in our work? One can observe this going on all the time. Now, Please just listen, if you are interested. To observe, does it mean? To observe either as though you are outside of it and looking in. You understand this? Or the observer is that which is observed. There is no division between the observer and the observed.
Sir, this is not exactly clear for me.
I'll make it
what
clear.
does it mean in mind, this division?
What division? I'll make it clear. What time is it?
25 of 1.
I'll make this very clear. When you observe the mountain, as you can observe it, in what manner do you observe it? Do you see the mountain as it is, or the word mountain, the word, interferes with the observation? Because when you look at that thing, the verbal reaction comes immediately. That's a mountain. So when you observe, the word interferes from looking at that thing. Right? You see that, sir? That's simple. Now, in the same way, can you observe your reactions without the past telling you that's good, bad, this is right, this is wrong, just to observe?
Without labeling.
That's right.
Do I know then what I'm looking?
Find, sir, look what happens. One is greedy. You see something, a dress, a pair of trousers, shoes, whatever it is, car, a woman or man, you see. And can you observe without the past memories interfering with it? When the past interferes, you are not actually looking, are you? The past memories are looking. There is no actual looking at that which is happening now. So the observer is the past. The past is looking at what is happening now. So there is a division. You understand, sir?
But it is not possible to have that clarity one moment and not the next.
Can it come about that I have that clarity at one moment, but not the next moment?
If one has clarity one moment, another moment you have not clarity, it's not clarity. Clarity is clarity. Now please just finish this. This really, if you once understand this principle of this, not agree with me, but I'm pointing out the logic of it, the reason of it, which is we are always looking from the past.
Do you mean, sir, that the man or the being who is looking is itself the past,
Yes,
the
sir.
knowledge?
That's right. What?
In the moment before you named it mountain.
Sir, because I named it because for you to indicate it, but to look at it without the word.
No, but if I look at it myself, if you'd not said it.
I'm going to show you something, sir. Can you look at your girl or your wife or your husband? Please listen. Without the past, without the past memories, past sensations, past disagreements, all that piled up, can you look at her or at him without a single image you have built about her or about him? Can you? Huh? Never tried. Quite right. Never tried. Just listen to what that gentleman said just now. He never tried. What does that mean? He's taken the past as granted. My wife, my girl, my husband, with all the past implications involved in it. Probably he wasn't even, not you, sir, I'm just saying, not aware of all the past incidents accumulated, which has become the image, the picture. And so the picture says, I know my wife. Like the Pope saying, God exists.
What if your wife keeps doing the same thing every time you see her?
But sir, can one observe without the past accumulation? If you cannot observe without the past accumulation, it is not possible to observe at all. But with all of us, the past is so enormous, so our minds are burdened that we cannot see without the past, see what is actually happening. So see, find out, if you find this out to be true for yourself, I'm not telling you, then there's a totally different relationship taking place. It isn't just routine, it isn't just a mechanical repetition of the past operating all the time.
Sir, when you ask us a question, an answer from memory comes up, and we try.
Don't try. Just see how the memory jumps immediately, pops up. So watch it. So this requires a great deal of inquiry and attention. It isn't just, well, I learned this by heart and something else will happen. You have to be very attentive, watchful. But if you observe, the past is always meeting the present happening, modifies itself, goes on, but it's still always the past. So man has lived this way. The great scientist, philosopher says, knowledge is the only thing that will evolve man, ascent of man through knowledge. Which is, knowledge is always the past. So we are saying on the contrary, man can only ascend if the past, with all the knowledge of the past, has its right place and is free of the known. Then there is freedom to move.
Sir, I was serious in that comment because it may be that my wife is mechanical, and therefore when you look at her, you see the same thing because essentially the mechanical pattern is the same. Do you understand what I mean?
I think I understand, sir. Right? So our minds have become mechanical, haven't they? Why? See, you don't observe all this. Why have our minds become mechanical? Our jobs have become mechanical, right? Right? Get up in the morning, all the rest of it, office. The routine. Our way of thinking is routine. Always along particular line, horizontal or vertical, aspiring or floating along. So our minds are caught in a groove of belief and so on. So everything is become mechanical. Your sex, your ambitions, your aspirations, your gods, everything is mechanical. You don't realize it. So there is nothing new. So we are saying something contrary to all that. That is to observe without the observer, which is the past. Even the quail agrees.
When I try to observe what is without the past, and the past operates,
then go after the past. Find out why the past operates. Why the past has become so important in our lives. So, look, the past is important when you're driving the car, right? Because if you're just put in the car with a wheel around it and you didn't know the technique of driving, which you have learned by constant repetition, which becomes the knowledge, you won't be able to drive. You may drive, you will kill yourself or kill somebody else. So knowledge in language, in business, doing all the necessities of daily life, necessities, knowledge is important. But when the mind, which is the whole movement of thought, is a process of operating from past knowledge, past experience, past memory, then it becomes a dangerous instrument that divides people, that destroys people.
Without meditation, life has no meaning.
What we are doing now is part of meditation. This is meditation. To clear up one's mind. So if I'm a Catholic, my meditation would be confined to the one particular pattern. And that isn't meditation. Meditation is something that has no limitations. I won't go into all that. I mean, you would want to escape into that. I won't. Because to meditate is an extraordinary activity. It can only come when the mind is completely free from confusion. A man confused meditates, his meditation is still confused. Whether it's transcendental or any other nonsense, it is still confused meditation, which only leads to illusions. You see, sir, these various gurus have come to see me at one time or another. I'm just telling you the fun of it. The great ones and the little ones. And they all say, what you are saying, sir, is the greatest truth, is what you are living, etc., great privilege, and they go on their own way. Because they say, well, sorry, sir, we must help the poor people who don't understand. You understand the game? Right. Is that enough?